I'm not going to stand here and try and tell you that chocolate frosting is boring or unsatisfying. It is delicious just the way it is. But when you want to change it up or make a dessert that really stands out, adding an unexpected ingredient can really help with that. Today I'm going to show you 3 different, unusual but delicious ingredients that will take your dessert to the next level. Let's go!
I'm going to start by making a base American buttercream. This is a very simple recipe consisting of softened butter, powdered sugar, cocoa, milk, vanilla, and salt. I'm going to omit the salt at this point, which will make sense in just a couple of minutes. If you've never made buttercream before, American is the simplest version, so I recommend you start there. You're going to want to make sure your butter is very soft, not cool at all, especially if you're not using an electric mixer. The other key, in my experience, is to sift the dry ingredients, which will keep you from getting lumps in your frosting. If you're really paranoid about lumpy frosting like me, you can also add your powdered sugar and cocoa in batches, incorporating each batch before you add more. At this point, I'm going to take some of my frosting out, set it aside, and add the salt to the rest of the buttercream. Now, at this point, our frosting is complete, and I can attest that it is delicious, just like this. It's familiar, comforting, sweet, rich, and chocolatey. So what can we possibly do to enhance this flavor? Our first alternative ingredient is espresso powder. This is not to give the chocolate an added coffee flavor, but rather to boost the chocolate flavor overall. You might have noticed from the video where I found the best brownies on the internet that several of the recipes I tested used espresso powder for this very reason.
And the piece de resistance, is instant espresso powder. It really helps bring out the chocolatey flavor, you know?
Buttercreams with this added espresso powder get a much deeper, luxurious, chocolatey flavor. Honestly, if you're not already adding this to your regular chocolate frosting recipe, you're missing out. Our second variation is going to get a little spicy with some chili powder. The combination of cocoa and chili is an ancient one, dating back to the Aztec culture. It's also versatile, as it can work in savory dishes, think mole and chili.
Chocolate and chili, believe it or not, goes hand in hand.
As well as sweet, as we're about to see here. In addition to chili powder, cinnamon is also commonly added to chocolate in South American desserts. But that's less traditional, since cinnamon was introduced to the region by the Spanish conquest. I'm adding both to this version. The spicy kick of the chili powder and the warmth of the cinnamon definitely makes for a 3-dimensional flavor and turns a cupcake into a cupcake experience. For our last variation, we're going salty with some soy sauce. I got this idea from a recipe by Raquel Pelzel of Epicurious. We'll use the buttercream that omitted the salt and a bit of soy sauce. Of course, the sodium in the soy sauce will work like salt to bring out the flavor of the butter and the cocoa. But the really special aspect of this addition comes from the subtle undertone of umami that tastes great and will have people asking what extra something you did to your frosting. Whether or not you tell them is up to you. At this point, I had to satisfy the curious monkey in my brain and try all 3 of these flavors together in one frosting to see if they would make something that tastes good. And the results were actually better than I expected. While I probably wouldn't develop a recipe with all of these added ingredients, they work decently together and definitely make for a tasty treat.
Well, that's it for today. If you enjoyed this video, please take a moment to like and subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you next time.